I mean, look at that, it went everywhere. Wow, holy cow, that is so good. Even though we're on the street, it's really good. The people of Malta were even more ancient to the Romans than the Romans are to us today. It's kind of incredible. Welcome to Destination Eat Drink, the travel channel for foodies. I'm Brent Peterson, an American living in Portugal. Today we are in Malta, specifically in Valletta, although that's not our final destination today. Today we're going to head out and see some ancient ruins, like 5,000-year-old, when I say ancient, 5,000-year-old ruins. And then we're going to go to a town that's known for its bread. But before we go, we have to get a little bit of sustenance. I've got some chocolate in my pocket, and also I got one of these. This is called a pastizzi, and when it comes to the handheld food of Malta, this is the most famous. Traditionally, these were filled with ricotta cheese or with peas. Now you see them filled with all kinds of stuff, chicken and beef and lots of different things. But I got the one filled with peas, and you can see all the ridges on here. This is so crispy and yummy, and it's still warm. I mean, look at that, it went everywhere. Pastizzis are so good. I love them. Crispy, nice tasty filling, and they're cheap too. This was 80 cents. So you could get, half a dozen of them for €5. Quite a deal. All right. Can't sit here rhapsodizing over pastizzi for too long. We got to go and get our bus out to the old Neolithic site, and go grab the bus. So let's go. We're heading out to the archaeological site, and to get there, we could take an Uber or a Bolt, but we're gonna ride the public transit. Back in the day, when we first came to Malta, they were known for these very charming and very old and rickety buses that used to run around the island. Now it's all been modernized, and this bus station is super modern. They've got a screen. I mean, there's so many bus bays here. You'd have no way of figuring out where your bus or where it was going or anything. But they've got a modern screen up there where you just look up your bus number or look up where you're going. It tells you where it is and when it's leaving, and super convenient. And best of all, buses here in Malta, you don't have to get a ticket. You can pay just by tapping your card on board. Super convenient. This is the Tarxien Prehistoric site. It was about a 30-minute bus ride to get down here, and then €6 to get in. This is an amazing Neolithic site, nearly 5,000 years old. Malta was originally settled in this area by Sicilian farmers who sailed over here in order to take advantage of some farmland. And they must have done well, because over the course of like 1,300 years, they used this site and built all of this stuff here out of the local limestone. Limestone is rather soft, so you can see it's degraded over time. It tends to flake and to dust off, but still, it's amazing to see what they built here almost 5,000 years ago over the course of almost 1,500 years. Romans arrived 2,000 years ago, so imagine that. We're now closer to the Romans arriving here. The people of Malta were even more ancient to the Romans than the Romans are to us today. It's kind of incredible. Originally, this was used, they don't know, they think for, just an outpost. We're not far from the harbor. It was probably involved with shipping, with agriculture. Later it was used as a crematorium to dispose of bodies. And when the Romans came, they used it for agriculture. But then it sat completely unknown for centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries, until about 100 years ago, a farmer was plowing his field out here and discovered some of these stones and thought, hey, maybe there's something here. And over the course of about 30, 40 years, they uncovered this and worked at reconstructing it and figuring out what was going on. It's an incredible site, and I really like how you can come in here. You're not supposed to touch, and we're not touching, but you're right in the middle of it. You can walk around and get an overview of it, but you're right in the middle of it. You can really see this stuff up close and kind of imagine what life was like almost 5,000 years ago here on Malta. This is the Addo-Lorata Cemetery. It's just about 25-minute walk from the Neolithic site. So it's easy to do, although quite a bit of it was along a highway, although there was a sidewalk. So you might want to take an Uber if you're not as adventurous at dodging traffic. There was one roundabout that was a little bit sketchy. Anyway, this cemetery is one of the most famous in all of Malta. It's been around for over 160 years. And you've got all kinds of people from all denominations, although it's mainly Catholic, but all denominations and all social classes that are buried here, including a lot of war dead. There's a big chapel right in the middle here, and it sits on top of a hill, so it's a pretty spectacular sight. The reason I wanted to come here is because one of the most famous people buried here is Daphne Galizia. She was an investigative journalist in Malta, and she did a lot of investigating into Maltese government corruption. You talk to people in Malta, and if they're truthful with you, if you ask about the government, one of the first words they'll say is corruption. Apparently it's rampant here in Malta. Of course, government corruption is nothing new, but she was investigating it, and in 2017, she died in an assassination by a car bomb in front of her house. Horrific event that shocked the Maltese and much of the world. I remember hearing about it when we were living in the United States. It was a horrible, horrible thing. She's buried here. There's also a shrine to her in front of the big cathedral in Valletta that we saw as well. So people still remember Daphne. She was a very important figure in exposing corruption here in Malta. We're on a busy street in the city of Kora in the middle of Malta. This is known as a really famous bread city here. And I've been wanting to come here for a long time. I've never been here. Emmanuel's Bakery. And it is a bread bakery, but it's also like a little grocery store. There's no place to sit in there, so we're standing on the street, gonna try their stuff. Said this was a famous Maltese sweetbread. I won't dare to pronounce it. Yum. Little sesame seeds on top. That's tasty. And this is the honey ring. Crust on the outside, fig paste on the inside. Comes as a ring. What I love about these is you get the fig, but you also get some spices in there, like some allspice and some cinnamon and some clove. Super duper tasty. All right, we're gonna try and hit at least one more place while we're here in this town. Let's see what else we can find. Even though we're on the street, it's really good. This place is called the Old Bakery because it's been around since 1875, and just like Emmanuel's, I was kind of surprised that it's a grocery store inside. So you can get your staples and you can get all your bread. So what did we get at the Old Bakery? Well, first of all, oh boy. Yeah, I didn't think so. So we asked if this was filled with anything, and she said, I thought she said fig, but no, there's nothing on the inside. It's just a sesame bun. Good crust though. Yeasty, lots of sesame. Tasty. This is what I was really looking forward to. Pistachio pistachio croissant. Pistachios are big here. You know, you go to Sicily, they have some of the best pistachios. I would say probably the best pistachios in the whole world. So it's no surprise we're not far from Sicily that we'd have good, oh man, I can smell it already, that we'd have good pistachios here in Malta. Wow. Holy cow. That is so good. So, I gotta say, you come to Corrie, it is a bit out of the way. It's not easy to get to, and if you're on foot, it's not really very pedestrian friendly. Sidewalks just end and you're dodging cars in here. But to get a pistachio croissant, yeah, it's pretty much worth it, I'd say. Perfect. Well, we made it to our final destination, Medina in Malta, about a half hour on the bus. Something about the buses, in the beginning I talked about how great it is that they offer contactless payment with your credit card. Well, we rode a bunch of buses today, and two of them, they said the machine was broken. So in one case, he made me pay cash. The other one, he just did this, said, go into the bus. Didn't make me pay. And then on a third one, just coming out here, it did work. So we were able to pay with contactless. So moral of the story is, if you want to pay with contactless, be prepared with cash just in case, because it seems that a lot of the machines are not working. Public transportation for the most part here is pretty good, but here's the thing, like there's no train or light rail here, and the buses share the lanes for the most part with traffic, and traffic is tough here. There are a lot of cars on Malta, many cars per capita, so traffic is really congested. Building a subway is out of the question because of all the historic sites. But for the most part, you know, the public transportation is pretty good. You just gotta, you know, wait a little bit. So anyway, that's it for this. Behind me is the gate to Medina. This is where we're gonna spend some time. And we'll try and do a video with Medina, Malta. But things you should know if you're a Game of Thrones fan, this is the gate to King's Landing. I think that's correct. I'm not a Game of Thrones person, so I don't know. But yeah, lots of Game of Thrones locations here in Malta, and that's a very famous one. So we'll be doing some sightseeing around Medina and, of course, eating some great food. And good news, the chocolate that I brought along as a snack made it to the end of the trip, so we've got that. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the station, subscribe to the channel, appreciate that. If you're thinking about going to Portugal, we've been living there for 3 years. Oh, it's good chocolate. I've written a whole foodie tour guide to Portugal. 17 city guides all in one place, just $9.99 at buymeacoffee.com/destination eat drink. I've also done a ton of episodes of my podcast about Portugal. I've done a couple about Malta as well. You can find where to get that at destinationeatdrink.com/pod. I'm Brent Peterson. See you down the road.
Das heißt, so von hier bis dahin.
Like, but sometimes he tell you go away, you know? That's why I was here. And it is fine. We do like this.